Hello, Dawn. Good afternoon. I can see you. I know you can't see me, but I can. Hi there. Hello, good people. Hello. Good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good day from my very little English-based kitchen. How is everybody? Happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Oh, I can tell you, moments before I came here, I wasn't feeling like this, okay? Because today, if you're in England or my part of England, the weather is cold. It is, you know, when we say crisp, dry, cold air, that's what we are having. It's so cold, all I want to do is pick my hot water bottle, okay? Turn the heating up and just roll over. If you feel that way, let's feel your hand in the chat, okay? If you feel like you, listen, you almost always see me in a shirt like, today, look at me. I am layered, okay? If you feel exactly how I'm feeling, just put your hand up in the chat, okay? You are my people, okay? But you know what is getting me through today? Talking to you. So happy Tuesday, my people. We are not baking today because you know what? I have gone and done something. I will be talking to you. For those of you who live with me, I said you live on this channel with me. This is not new to you. And a few of you even know that this is like, but for those of you who would just be joining in because you're just new to the chat, hello there. I've got something to share, and my hair, like I feel like I've got smoke coming out of my hair because I'm like, we did it. But that's not why we are here, okay? Well, that's part of why we are here. We normally, when we do the heavy tutorials where it's so task-centered, I miss out on chatting with you. So I've made it a point that post the heavy tutorial, we'll come back and do a debrief. I'll give you some insight to some of the cakes we make on those tutorials. And then if there is some tea to spill, I don't have milk. I ain't got tea to spill. But I'm talking about the proverbial tea to spill. I'll tell you. And the book cake. Grab a seat, sit down, we'll debrief. I'll tell you what the customer said, and here is, they had something to say. Not a complaint, but not the resounding, I love it. I'll tell you all about it. Grab a seat, we'll talk about it. And then let me just make sure I ain't got my address over there. Okay. Ain't got address. We have this. Boring, I hear you say. We have this. And then we have this. Okay? We have this. If you know or have any idea what this is, tell us in the chat. Tell us in the chat. It's going to be the next 10 days, right? I say 10 days. The next week, because we have, today is 3rd, and I've got 7 days to get whatever this is all about out. We've got to get it out in 7 days. And I'm going to try my best. I won't promise. If you stick here with me for the next 7 days, you are going to see, if you place an order for any of these, you're going to see it done right here. It is going to be put finally in the post, and it will get to your house. And come Valentine's Day, or maybe a day earlier, you can just grab a seat, sit down, and on Valentine's Day, you and I are going to be right here opening a box, which is my sample box, which I have kept to the side, and we'll be digging right in and reviewing this box. So grab a snack, sit down with me, and let's talk more cakes. How are you though? How are you? I know you feel like me. You want to turn the heating up, you want to roll over, and you want to get your hot water bottle. I know, okay? How is the weekend? There's Dolly. There's Lollipop. All of you in there, here's a polite notice. If you've forgotten to like the video, okay? Just like the thing. You don't have to subscribe if you don't feel like it, because over here we don't do ghost subscribers. Like, we don't want the subscribers who come and it's like we bang on about you subscribing and then you just hit the button only to kind of unsubscribe quietly. Or even if you don't unsubscribe, you just give us the number. Like, you can only have me lurking. We don't want that. We want a community here. We want people who can be engaged, people who actually love what we do, people who want to be a part, like an active part. And what does active participation over here look like? We don't force you to subscribe. I'm actually telling you, this is your free will to unsubscribe if you find us annoying, too long-winded. But on the flip side, if you like what we do and you like us for us, because over here we don't put on an act. Well, it's a bit of an act that I want to roll over on my sofa, but I'm here with you. But we don't put on an act. What you're seeing is me in my kitchen. And if I wasn't talking to you, I'd probably be in the kitchen. And I will today, being Tuesday, I would have started on buttercream and other things for the cakes. Because outside of these taster boxes that are going out for you, I also actually have possibly one cake confirmed for a day before Valentine's Day, and that still has to be made. And there's one for Valentine's Day that the customer is still chasing me up and my hair is overwhelmed. So I'll still be here trying to get organized for these orders that are going to be very heavy. So you're not watching a preset. Like, when I wake up, you see me right as my day is. And the purposes of this live obviously is to bring you along the real raw moments of the decorating process. You get to see me in all my flaws. You get to see the cake start to finish. And I give you a chance to kind of have your opinions on it. And talking about opinions, one of which is the customer's opinion always counts. And if you've been here all week, as in today's Tuesday, all last week through the tutorials, we were very tutorial task heavy on a large book cake that I made for a customer. If you don't know about that cake, you don't know what I'm talking about, check the community post where I posted images of the cake. I even had someone comment under it, RIP. And I'm like, people, do you read? It's a child's first birthday cake. And my skin feels a certain way if you're putting RIP there, sir. I was tempted to take down the comment, but I also knew that they meant no harm, and they just thought, oh, that was like, I don't know, if they thought it was an announcement brochure for a child's passing. Just check the community post, okay? You will see photos of the book cake, and passing that, you can check the live tutorials. I have optimized, I've partly optimized the description. You will see the book cake, and yeah, you'll see what is happening over there. Let me just get in the chat so that I can catch up, because today, like I told you, today we are doing a debrief where I'm bringing you the customer's real, like, I've told you, like, the business of cakes, right, is about people. The prices of cake is about psychology, which has you in the center. I have always spoken about that. You will never find me. I think in my cake making career, going on to 12 years now, and even looking into my future, I don't know if I will ever be your creator who will create you a course about how to price your cakes. Because I think the pricing of cakes has more to do with psychology. And the psychology of the pricing is set in how you feel demanding what you're worth. And if you're constantly going back and forth about what you deserve, you will never be able to feel comfortable charging what you really, really deserve for the prices of cake. And I think that feeling is very common in our industry. And that is because with the sort of the upspring of so many home bakers who are trying to do their own thing, and nothing wrong with that. It means that the volume and the influx of newbies has allowed the quality of the product to be driven down. So when you then put time and effort into making an artistic cake and you're charging, like, it is wild to me when I go to like, the subject of pricing of cakes drives a lot of engagement and conversation, and most of the conversation, sadly, is about other cake makers telling businesses what they are charging. Like, it blows my mind. You charge whatever you want, okay? Do, like, I never have an opinion unless I'm asked, or where I feel like, you know what, it will be helpful. But even so, I think I have just limited that intention to the lives here where people genuinely ask, people like your dollies, and we engage in the conversation openly. And I do that openly just to inform, because sometimes when people are also talking about pricing, they sort of caveat it, you know, so you don't know if they're really charging that price or they're just saying it to kind of pass the time. And over here we talk about prices, you know, and we talk about real customer feedback. When I made those cupcakes and Sandra came for my neck, we were right here. So this book cake, no matter how we think it feels, like, we can say it's beautiful, the cake customer is the ultimate person whose point of view matters. And for that, I'm not going to pretend that they came back with a great resounding feeling about it. I'll tell you all about it in a minute. Let's get in the chat, see what's happening over there. And for the boxes, we'll be prepping some over here. And it's likely that one of these boxes will end up in your post. And we kind of like put it together right here on the live. So yeah, welcome to the chat and welcome to the stream. Let's see. Lollipop says, I am doing good. I told the landlord if I don't get a time and a date today, I'm going to the council and they're going to chase the contractor and it will get... Ooh! If you don't know the message I just read, it is concerning our homebird, person of the house, Sister Lollipop. She has a leak. Her toilet is broken. And landlord is stalling. So Lollipop is up for war. She woke up and chose violence. Lollipop, I hope this gets sorted for you, my dear. Okay? Seasons is back. Steph and when I see Gladys and Steph, our love and sis, how are you? I hope the weather is better wherever you are, because our weather isn't that great. Lollipop. Oh, okay. Lollipop has put something in the chat. Let's kind of talk about it. No, I said Lollipop. Dolly said, I think I've missed some of the chat, but what I'm reading over here is somebody who wanted a cake for a 6-year birthday. Dolly goes ahead to derive the sketch, and the customer says they didn't want it. So what did you do? Maybe I missed the rest of it. What did they want then? For sure. Is it fast? Is it Faso? Is it Fasos? Faso? F-A-R-S-O-W. Faso. Kitchen. Okay. Fingers crossed they get sorted. Okay. Right. So, Dolly, what did they want then? And how did you eventually resolve that? I've just put this box on sticky. Okay. Fingers crossed they will come and fix it. Okay, people. Let's start with our box here. Our Valentine pre-order for Cake Tasters is live on the website. If you want to see a link to that, it is in the community post. It is live. There is only a limited amount. I have, in fact, matter of fact, for the numbers, we have exactly 10 boxes. Because this is like a drop. I wanted to do more so for you. You have watched me eat cake over here. I have talked about cake over here. And this I felt like was a good chance to almost give you something that you see right here. Like I said, you are going to be seeing me kind of complete some aspects of your boxes right here. And so for you, right, I am incredibly grateful for your support, because without that, that's not possible. I have always said it is because of your support that I feel inspired and encouraged to bear the journey of running a business openly. Frankly, have I been as open as I should be? No, because that also involves a part of my life that extends to other people, which is my son, for instance, and my recently ended relationship. But all those things that have an effect on business. Like if you're like self-employed and you're in a steady relationship and the partner is the supporting person or the income earner, it does give you a different footing and an attitude. And if you don't have that and you're starting afresh, the impact is different. Just being honest with you. So just having you here support me and my goals to kind of like navigate these new beginnings whilst also not giving up. Because trust me, there's been moments where I feel like, you know what, at this point in time, with all the changes that have happened, it would probably work best if I went over and found a traditional job. Honestly, are we having an honest conversation? Okay. But it is with your support that I feel inspired and hopeful to wake up every day and pursue my dream over here. And so when I come here and I'm showing all the aspects of cake making that I could have easily put in an ebook and sell it back to you, it is because you give me something. And for that, your support, your commitment, your engagement, your attention, I almost feel like, what can I give back to you? And there's nothing better than just looking at the place where we both connect, which is that we connect over cake. And you've seen me eat cake, and I've sent some sample boxes out to some of you, a few of you, and you've come back with resounding feedback. I just thought, it's Valentine, okay? It's Valentine. Would it be a good chance to kind of give something back, or an opportunity for you to kind of pick up what you see right here? I mean, the red velvet cake, you've watched me make it here. You all have been like so supportive and have loved the red velvet. Every time it comes out of the oven, you see my giddy self jumping. I don't make up that excitement. It still excites me every day when a cake comes out of the oven and it's baked well. Why? Because baking is a science and there are unpredictable moments. So you've seen my red velvet here, you've seen my vanilla cake, you've seen my chocolate cake layers. These are not random recipes. I'm not deriving new recipes. I'm not like gatekeeping my processes. These are the recipes that are the backbone of my business, and I give them right to you here live. And so the Valentine taster boxes are not just any taster boxes. They taster boxes to encourage connection and an element of value back to you. So where can you find them? You'll find them updated on the website. If you click on the shop front, you should have taster boxes. They are on pre-order. If you pre-order and make the payment, put the details, you will get one of these for 12th or 13th. Either way, they should get to you before Valentine's Day. The pre-order closes on the 10th. But there are only 10 boxes, and at the moment, based on the emails I've received and the order that has been made by our lovely Lollipop for being the first person to place the order, there will be an additional gift. I can't tell you what it is, but if you want to be probably one of the first 5 people who will order the taster boxes on the live from here, I will add a gift to your box. So out of the 10 boxes, at the moment, we have literally half of that number sitting. The reason why I've limited them to 10 is because, like I said, it's a first drop for you to test it, so it's not largely open. I've posted it on my TikTok just because, but I am hardly on TikTok. If you have TikTok, you'll find me over there. So the 10 is to kind of stop overwhelm, because could I make a larger number? Of course I could, but I don't want to make the channel the focus of selling to you. I also want to manage my time and overwhelm, because if I make it about selling and the orders are larger, I will be overwhelmed and likely quality will reduce, because I do this all by myself. Okay, and I've spoken about feeling overwhelmed even after a tutorial. You've seen me, I've rolled over here, I'm like, I'm tired, you know. So the 10, because honestly, I underestimated how much work goes into them. I do. And over the last few days that I started putting this together, there is an exhaustive amount of work. Can I tell you, like, the boxes themselves come flat packed. Let's talk about this. Darling, Steph is asking, I am so sorry to say the boxes are only limited to UK postage, because the US, I will have to kind of work around that. Steph, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm not shipping to the US. They're just UK based. But you know what? We are going, and this is not going to be the last time. I don't suspect this is the last time order at all. So let's talk about this. It's a lot of work. Like, these boxes are flat packed. These are the postals, as in this is the post box that this box will go in. Okay, this is flat packed, and if I got 20 of these, I have to do this by myself. These two are both flat packed. Here they are. The lid and the box, they are flat packed. Fancy sitting there doing this all by yourself. This tag here, I have to punch myself. The labels, the ribbon, I have to do all of these by myself. People, and then come to think about the buttercream, come to think about the cakes themselves, and I am focused on giving you quality. Honestly, I just know the people who I see over here who make a lot of them, I think there is room to expand the slices in future, but I will need help. I'm not even going to pretend. I will need help. And this is not the opportunity for me to go get help. The time is very limited. I mean, today is 3rd. We have 7 days. 7 days. You can, yep. Lollipop says you can spend, yep. Dolly is saying it's very stressful putting the taster together. I use them for my wedding tasters. I ship everywhere in the UK. Dolly, thank you. It is very stressful. So you know what? Yeah, there are only 10 of those going out. And if they go, they go. I'm not going to increase the numbers. I'm not. Because I am focused on giving you quality for them. Okay? I am focused on giving you quality for them. Yeah. If you want to know what they are, there are 6 cups. This box is for demonstration and I don't want to undo it. But I will, as we go on through the week, I will bring a live sample box for you to see what's in. You have 2 pots of red velvet. You have 2 pots of chocolate. And then you have 2 pots of vanilla. Now, the description and all the details are on the website. There are photos, descriptive photos on the community post. If you want to know exactly how it's presented, the photos are what will show you. The photos are a near representation of what they look like. So the box will be, you will find this box in the postage that is wrapped. I will kind of show you what the sample box looks like so that you know what to expect. And so can we talk about how much they are? If you pick up this box for the 6 pots of 2 flavor each for red velvet, vanilla, and chocolate, they are £30, right? That's a flat fixed price for the box without postage. Now, the reason why I left it open without postage yet is simply because who knows, you may offer to kind of collect them, and if you want to come and collect them at an address, that will be £30, no more, no less. But if you want it posted, which is the intention for them, they come with 2 options of postage. I would have made it one simple option of postage, but do you know how much it costs to post? I took this, wrapped up exactly with everything that goes in the box to the post, and it's £15.75 for a post to anywhere in the UK because of the weight. As in, they weigh it. No 2 items are the same flat weight, if you like, but there's like a, what do you call it? There's a spectrum of weight and charges that occur with that. And for everything when it's packaged at the post office, it's £15.75 exactly. I cannot use Avery, not for cakes. Ish! Even ChatGPT said, leave Avery alone. It is coming by first class post. You have the first class Royal Mail guaranteed, which is £15.75. But if you opt for regular first class, not guaranteed, it's still first class aiming to go next day, okay? But they will tell you, because it's not guaranteed, it is not prioritized. So if something came up and your delivery got caught on the way, it might get there 48 hours later because they've told you it's not guaranteed. And that is, I think, £7.40 when I check. So I found the numbers for you, but this is what I do for you. £15.75 plus that is a lot to pay in this season, okay? So to keep my word on giving you value, because the intention is to give you value, I have discounted the post guaranteed first class to a flat £10 rate, and the second class to a flat £6 rate, which means technically if you order online, your postage is subsidized. So for a total price of postage, first class guaranteed post via Royal Mail to anywhere in the UK, you end up with the box for £40 instead of what you would have been paying, which is £45.75. The £5.75 is absorbed from the price of the cake, which means that you probably ended up with the cake for £25 or less, if you like, which is still value for your attention and time over here. And so that's £40 for the first option, guaranteed, delivered next day, signed for. So if I put the post in at, say, on the 12th, before 4:30, so let's say I get to the post for between 2 and 3 p.m. It is dispatched by 4:30, and by next day before 1 p.m. you receive it on the 13th. And so that option is available for you to pick up, and that will bring your price to £40. And actually, keeping it real, I don't receive £40 because, you know, the person processing the payments, the person processing is Stripe. Stripe will take a commission because your card payments need to be protected. It's not like you're making a direct deposit into my account. The commission Stripe takes leaves me with £38.50 or £38.30 or something. I was looking at it because I have already received a first order from Lollipop. So we have about £38.50 or £38.20, something like that, for this full box. We're having a real conversation about business and money. For all the effort to put this together to send to you, I don't think I am making any profit, but I'm not complaining. I am just opening up about the side of business that is about driving value rather than focus on actual material profits. I think darling, Steph, I know. You know what? I don't mind. You know what? I am still not sure about the shipping to the US and the time it takes and all of that stuff. Let me just say I'll look into it and I'll keep you informed. So honestly, if you place this order on, why do I feel like I'm not in focus? Because I can see I'm blurred. Bear with me. Let me just check. Okay, yeah. I think I wasn't. So, my people, so actually the actual price including first class postage, if you chose the first option, guaranteed, I get £38, 20 pence or something like that. But that doesn't take into account the cost of everything. But it's important we have this conversation, you know, and I'm not here going boo-hoo. No, I am actually also, so because most of my audience here is not just people who just watch me for watching's sake. Some of you are running your own business or aspire to. And it's important to keep these conversations open so that you understand what goes into some of these decisions. So that is probably one of the reasons why the orders are not large, as in I'm not selling too many numbers, because too many numbers will be material profit focused. It will be overwhelming for me. It will drive down value and it will just ruin the experience, because if anything, I was inspired to take on this more so for you. Because if I didn't have you selling, as in actually standing and selling cakes, is a very sore spot for me. I get really insecure because I love the fact that people find me. But as a business owner, it's also important to understand and engage with the principles of marketing and marketing your products in a way that invites an audience. And for custom cakes, the audience is very niche. They will find you. I've been so pleased that most of them have come through word of recommendation, which means that it has made me slightly insecure, because having to market your product means you have to sell yourself, which also opens you out to the feelings of rejection, which makes me very sensitive. I'm just telling you, having a business doesn't mean you are confident in all the spectrums of strengths that you need to be successful. So with that said, for £40, you can pick this one up. But if you think, you know what, £40 is a bit much for me, the next option will be the £36 option, which means your cake will be posted. It's not guaranteed. But in fact, I have never known Royal Mail to disappoint. I have never. I know people have different experiences. You have the £36 option where you still get a first class post. It is not guaranteed, but it will get to you. Okay? So all those options are on the website. All of those are on the website. Go check it out. And yep. Let's see how it goes. As the days go by, £40 is, you know what? Can we have an honest conversation for the amount of time, especially if we're charging by the hour? So you see, here's the conversation about cake prices that is very nuanced. You can't always charge, you can't, for those who preach, you have to pay for your time per hour, and they assign, and I do those for certain cakes. For this, if I assign per hour, it will not happen, because it will take a couple of hours to put this together. Let's say mark 10 of those, give or take, even if I assign a full hour, I'm distracted to kind of put this together, and it's a lot, like 10 of those, right? and then you think about putting them together, organizing the concept, then the bake. And please don't underestimate how time consuming it is to create those tasters cleanly. I did it for the samples, that because the photos you're seeing are actual real samples that I created, and I shot them by myself, and they are actual. So I know how much time has already been spent doing this, okay, including the photography and everything, because that's also marketing. This particular shot is connected to the item, which is your time. And on the weekend, on a base average of from the box and putting up, I spent about relatively 5 hours distributed over all the different tasks to bring it together. If I applied my minimum wage as a cake artist, that will be £25 per hour, which is still less. That money is gone already, and there's no cake on the table. So I've been honest about how cake pricing is very nuanced, which is why I don't make it a point of commenting about what anybody charges, whether or not I believe it's less or more. You never know, because I have said, is there a cake on the market for £30? Of course, depending on your business plan. If you had 3 mixers or a 20-liter mixer sat in the corner over there where you can derive the batter quickly, and you can bake a batch of, say, 9 cakes, 30 cakes is £30 for a cake is possible, because you know what? Via that process, you are able to claw back time. You can manage the production in a way that is efficient. And I'm talking efficiency. And with that, that is almost like going into the bakery style cakes. And so the cake may be beautifully looking, okay, but in terms of pricing, it's still affordable. I wouldn't say cheap. It's still affordable and is tailored to the masses. But if you're a one single person, first of all, you have to be careful about how much you can take, and you have to optimize for a different demographic or audience. And so for like last week, you saw me complete a book cake, and you saw me complete that one book cake here on a live. And between the cake and my own life, which is looking after my son and running and doing mom duties, I couldn't do any more. We started the week off. Before the start of last week, we were doing mini Valentine cakes. People ask me where that cake is off to the side. With this, I'm like, what was I doing imagining Valentine cakes for collection? No. So no, people. Sarah is back. Sarah's Kitchen. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. So people, here, you can go place an order for any of these. And that would be great support for us. Right, so Dolly, let me just put that here for you. So Dolly says, yes, where I live, bakers sell a full custom cake for £30 and £70. So they think mine is expensive, but when they eat my cake, they understand why I charge more. Why are they eating your cake though? No, I mean, I think I'm just thinking, if them bakers are selling the cakes cheap, why are they eating your cake? But I guess you mean the customers. They see why you charge more. Hepzibah, thank you. There will always be somebody charging cheaper. There will always be. And which is why I say pricing is a matter of psychology. And the psychology of it is set in your own confidence and how you want to see your value in the product you are selling. There is a baker on TikTok that I like to watch, because you know what? I love her for just being, how do I describe her? She's like, F you. Pardon my use of strong language, but she's like, to hell with you, your mama, your family, and everybody, because my cake is good and the customer will pay for it. And that's her attitude. If you think I'm giving you attitude, go find her out. She's on TikTok. She does hand-painted cakes. Now, is hand-painted cakes for everybody? No. And people are always in her comment section shouting about how expensive she is. She sells her taster boxes for £50. And you know what? When I go to her comment section, I'm like, are people crazy? If you see the tasters and the amount of time, okay, just the time she puts in to present those tasters, I'm like, first of all, the postage is nearly £16. So she sells it for an altogether price of £50. But £15 is already for postage. So the cake has now been reduced to what? £35. So yeah, £35. And for £35, if you see what she is giving you, I'll pay £35 for that stuff. Okay? Because she spends her time making sure you have a seal, a stamped seal, you have flowers. Now, does everybody want those? No. If you don't, then go to Asda. And nothing wrong with that. But to go into somebody's comment section, and shout about why they are charging for a cake, and what ruins it for me is other cake makers going to her comment section and be like, well, I make cakes and I think you're too expensive. And sometimes, you know what? The Lord saves, because I used to have a very petty spirit. Okay, I used to. And I want to go in that comment section to defend her and be like, well, it's not her problem. Your confidence is so low that you are underselling yourself. Stop being mad over here. That's all. So I say all that to say our taster boxes let's see. Help. When people say it's expensive, you just don't even say it's okay. Just smile. Just smile. Don't give them the answer and watch them. Oh, and talking about giving prices, can we talk about our own people ghosting us all the time? Dolly, come to the table and come and share your ghosting experiences. Like, I make it a point, right, to not generalize. Okay? And also, based on my experience, it is kind of hard. That's why I love the cake maker I'm just talking about. Because she's like, F you, F your mama, F everybody. I am living loud on this internet. Okay? And she's not a person who is like grossly offensive to anybody. But she really doesn't give a crap telling exactly what she feels about her product. And I love that, because some of us are a little more like reserved about our intention. Because look, in the week I will be telling you about the customer feedback on the book cake. Hold that thought for a minute. But the idea or perception of being told you're expensive doesn't just show in them just saying, oh, you're expensive. Because when they tell you you're expensive, at least you can either choose to have a conversation with them which may lead to informing them, or you can choose to walk away, but at least you are clear. The difficult part, not for me anymore, though, is the people who just ghost you. Who, imagine if I held my prejudgment of those who ghost me, because those who ghost me, for me, after nearly a decade of experiencing them, fit into a certain criteria. So imagine me if I used my perception of what I believe people should be, people who look like that, like judging a book by its cover, like, if you like, and then you text me, and because I know you're going to ghost me, I decide to ignore you. Can you imagine what that would look like? But here's the thing. Most of the time when those who will ghost you show up, I know who they are. They look like what I know they will be, but I still choose to show up and give you the information anyway, and still try to be professional anyway. And then if you choose to ghost me, that just strengthens my resolve and sensitivity to your negative attitude. Because it's not my problem that you cannot afford me, and yet even less, you cannot communicate because you feel insecure. Because the problem with ghosting is that you cannot afford, but you feel like you cannot voice it. So you are a walking broken record. Because it shouldn't be that bad. Just because I have an open policy to actually educating or informing a customer more than selling them a cake. And I make that clear. This is how my consultations go. Like, it's before I invite you for a consultation, I make it absolutely clear. I'm like, you know what? If I wasn't talking to you with the intention of making you a cake you would like, I will still be talking to you about cake as much as you want to hear from me. You know why? Because I love cakes. I am passionate about them. And I want to empower you or give you value enough for you to be informed about what can drive your choice. So even if you're not buying a cake from me, you can go to the next person so you can know the options available on the market. And then that can drive your negotiating ability because you know what you want. Is that clear? And so if even I lose out on you as a customer, I am still making a difference to the industry as a whole, because suddenly when you walk away, you realize that, oh gosh, I thought I can only get buttercream cake, and that's what I wanted, like the American buttercream. But after talking to this lady and this long-winded lecture, I find out that there are different options, and the option she is providing for me is different. And that's why she may be expensive. So actually, I don't want an expensive cake like hers because it's not my thing. So let me go to the next person. Can you see how just a genuine interaction to inform and educate can make a difference? So my actual usual initial intention to speaking or communicating with the customer is not set in selling them a cake at all. No, it's to inform them. Because most of the time when people send me a photo of a certain cake and be like, this is the cake I want, I look at the picture and I scratch my head and I'll be like, do you? Because if I gave you the price, would you? Hep, thank you. Hep says sell them for £40. Who can buy will buy. I know, darling. They are 40. You know what? The £36 doesn't change the fact that the box itself comes at £30 for the price, and then the postage will make it 40. So you know what? There are 10 boxes. If you go and you choose the first class guaranteed option, they will be gone and there won't be any more to come to add. So that will be it. So thank you for that. Dolly says, yesterday I had a woman who wanted a Pokemon cake for 40 people. And I sent her my prices. She said it's not what she pays with her old baker. So I said, no worries. Dolly, I just want to give you a hug, honey. Oh, Dolly. Dolly says, okay. Did they come back? Lollipop, go ahead. Go ahead. You won't regret it. Okay? You can freeze one. It freezes up to 3 months. It chills in the fridge for best quality up to 5 days if you want to. It will stay at room temperature up to 48 hours, especially with this weather. But up to 48 hours doesn't mean the cake is gone off. Let's be clear, okay? It doesn't mean it will go off. It's just like a liability clause to say that you are best guaranteed, right? So come on, Lollipop, go ahead. You're welcome. The more the merrier. Think about, and look, if you don't care for cake, I'm sure your loved ones will appreciate if you can still get them some amazing cake for Valentine. So come on, don't be that person. Don't tempt me, Gladys. I would probably get in trouble. Yeah, I see. Listen, I have all the interest to keep tempting you, okay? Because I want them 10 boxes gone, okay? I don't want to keep any for myself. I want them all gone. Here's what the post box looks like. It's actually easy to put together, even though it is a lot of work. So there you have it. So on the day, and this is, where is it? This is will be in a pink bag when it comes through to you. There you go. So this goes right in there, and there you have it. It looks at you like you may look. See? Imagine getting one of these cute boxes just a day before Valentine and knowing that a part of this was made right here. I don't know. You might end up getting the box that was kind of put up here, the buttercream and everything. Look, you're welcome. So there you go. There you go. Let's see. You know what? Let's see how valuable YouTube is for all the time and investment if you're selling your people something, and see if they are interested. But there you go. There you go. So there you go. You're going back to surgery, darling. Have a lovely time. Look after the patient, and we will see you back here. All the best, love. All the best. Now, let's talk about our book cake and the feedback that came through. Remember, I tell you all the time, I make a point to not talk about my customers so much, whether they are good, they are bad, because I never want to raise an audience against them when they can't defend themselves. But I talk about specific cakes simply to educate and inform, and for an opportunity to be open about the real cake processes, which includes customer feedback, whether good or bad, where necessary. So, like I told you, this cake customer has been a loyal one from a previous order, and when I first made their cake, their very first order with them, the experience wasn't great for me, because they were typically one of those customers that I found very overwhelming. Okay, using the word overwhelming here is not a bad thing. Two things can be true. Okay, two things can be true: that people can be good people, okay, and just because maybe the description of an aspect of my experience or encounter with them doesn't necessarily, it's not positively resounding, doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person. So I want us to focus this conversation on the part that educates and informs. And the education and informs also requires context to how we got here. So my very first encounter with them, I found them very overwhelming in that they struggled to exactly articulate what their design idea was. And so they were the customer who was texting me in the middle of the night and early morning, and the text messages got a little too much to the point where I felt overwhelmed and then suddenly began to question whether I was really sure about making them a cake. Okay. And the reason why I was questioning whether I could make them a cake wasn't set in some sort of insecurity about my own skill. Not at all. It is because I require clarity. When you are making a custom cake, you can never compromise the element of trust. And this is what trust looks like. I can sketch you a cake and tell you I'll execute the cake. You have to trust that a sketch is not the cake. A sketch is a representation of the cake. It is an idea brought in picture form. The experience of taking that picture and then translating it tangibly in a presented cake is two different things. And so at every point of the process, from communication to design process to the actual cake, your customer has to trust that you can deliver whatever you have perceptively created in picture form to them, right? And that's important. But here's the thing. Your sister here doesn't sketch. That's it. I don't sketch. I cannot sketch a cake to look. I can put a pencil to paper, but you see them fine, beautiful sketches people make? I don't know. And I know you can digitize it. I don't know how I feel about that. I have tried. Most of the concept, I can look at a cake and I can be able to communicate the design with words to you. Don't ask me to sketch. So because of that, I know I am at a disadvantage with the customer who cannot see what I may be able to produce. What they can go off on though is the body of my work that already exists online and is present to inform them. And so that makes the element of trust higher. The threshold for trusting that, okay, she's been able to describe what she can do. I've seen what she can do. I'm just going to let her. And on my very first encounter with this client, not related to the present cake, a previous cake I made for them, it was that. I didn't feel like they trusted me to execute their vision, and they couldn't communicate the disconnect in the cake. So ultimately, this is what happened. I made them a cake eventually because they wouldn't let me go. Like, I tried my best in the best possible way. But the downside though is that by the time I came to the resolve to say, look, I can't make you a cake, it had left them just short time to get a different baker, which was on me, because then I dragged it so long that they didn't feel like they had the option to let someone decide on making them a cake in good time. So eventually I had to still make them a cake, even though I didn't have the absolute clarity and confidence in trust to make them the cake. So what did I do? When you are undertaking a project that has almost left you on the back foot, you have to bring your A game. So in terms of value, I overperformed. Like, I went out of my way to make sure that the cake covered like I had to overthink any issue that she could raise. And for me to kind of like almost counter that in the design process and present them a cake. And boy, oh boy, did it not did it not live up to the expectation? It blew things out of it blew things up for them, because they came back, like I woke up to the same messages I was receiving at dawn and in the middle of the day that I found really like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I woke up and there was a lengthy text about how they feel about and how amazing, which goes back to what I was saying to you, that this customer is very, very expressive, and it can be overwhelming. And so from that point, I realized that, okay, so maybe the feelings I was having, though valid, I was still able to make them a cake. So this time when they were looking for a cake, my initial reaction again was to say no. And I said no in so many forms. And then they kept pursuing. A little note here is that not the customer themselves, but I have a professional relationship with someone close to them. So that sort of also influences my attitude. Because in a way, if I didn't have like an extended relation to them, then I wouldn't care about them and it would be a brutal no. But when you have other connections to consider, sometimes you have to think about the wider implications. So this time when they came back, I was skating around it, hoping they will go away. But they pursued and pursued and pursued. So this time, because I remember my last experience with them, I made it clear to them about what I couldn't do. I'm like, you know what? Your idea from the first cake, this is where our trouble spot is. This is what we got. Remember, what you got exceeded the value in terms of price of what you paid for. And that's not where I am at this point. So this is the price of the cake, and I quoted for it exactly. It was $215, and it was supposed to feed 24. We discussed all that. And this is what she said to me. Hear me when I say. She said to me, you've made a cake for me before, so I'm going to trust you to make the cake. Plus, these are the colors. So the colors were cardboard brown or khaki. I would later find it wasn't cardboard brown, it was khaki brown. Note that. So the colors were cardboard brown, off-white to white, and some hints of blue. She didn't care how these colors were represented. She just wanted the theme colors to reflect these as discussed. So in a way, she allowed me creative control, which kind of tells or confirms how far we have come. Because when we started a couple of years back, they wouldn't even allow, and they micromanage the exact detail of their cake, and I had to go and outperform that sort of concept. Now they trust me to make the cake, and they've given me an idea, which means they were welcoming my skill and input slightly onto the cake. So you watch the entire cake happen over here. Now, if you were here towards the last part of the cake, when we had the page added to the cake design, remember I asked whether we wanted the flowers on both sides, as in the buttercream flowers that were like the decorative detail. And naturally, I said I thought just the one page to cover the space, as in the empty space, would work best. And you guys agreed, okay? And then when we put the page, the cake was blown out white. The pages, as in the page we created with fondant, it was very crisp white. And there was a kind of separation between the page, because before we added the page, there was the wafer paper which had the crisp brown edges. So if you've been here, you would have seen that when we put the page, as in the edible printed page of the baby photo and all the text on the book, there was a separation between the colors in that the fondant pages were crisp white, and then just towards the top of the page there were the brown wafer paper crisp edges before the white edible sheet with the text and baby photo. And if you looked at that cake from my point of view, the wafer paper detail distracted. It almost like separated the pages in two, as in, I'm trying to think. I don't have my diary here. I was going to show you. I don't have my diary here. I wanted something to represent it so bad. Let me just get my diary if I can find it. Well, I couldn't find my diary, but I found my old little Bible. So let's talk about what I'm trying to explain to you. So the book cake, and this is actually a good representation. The book cake, if you were here, you would have seen the book cake. Now, we created this part of the book, this part, which is the page flip. We created that in fondant. And then the top part, we had the edible paper, which had the text and the baby photo. But before, and the edible paper was the last item we put on the cake as the final decorative detail. But if you go back to the video, you will see that before we put the edible paper on it, there was wafer paper here. And I explained to you that the reason why I had the wafer paper was because wafer paper does warp when it comes into contact with moisture. And I needed the wafer paper to kind of warp and bring some texture to the cake. Enough that when the text, which is the icing sheets, go on it, it will give it form and hold up properly. The problem with the wafer paper though was that I had sort of highlighted the edges in brown, which is this part. So if you look at the book cake, this part was sort of brown, as in just this top part here was brown, and then the bottom here was white before we placed the edible paper on top, right? So by the time I came to put the icing sheet with the text and the baby photo, this little bit here, which is just here, this little page underneath, had brown highlight, which separated the bottom of the page detail, which here white, then there's a thin brown here, and then there's the top white. It just didn't look great. So what I did then was I highlighted. So if you go back to the video, you'll see the last thing I did was that I took a fine tip brush, which was this brush. It's a fine tip brush. I dipped it in brown color just to highlight the page. I didn't want to paint it, but I wanted to blend the white into the brown, because in my head I was like, the way the cake is going to be placed is going to be placed flat, and most people will be looking at it from this point of view, and they are not going to be focused on the page detail. So I wanted to kind of blend it with brown highlights, like if you think about stippling detail on it, just so that the white doesn't stand out too much, and then the brown doesn't look like it's distracting. You all love the cake. I don't know how I feel about the cake. I just felt like my job was done. I never like have like this emotional thing that, oh, especially when it's a customer cake. If I'm over here making a cake, if I'm making a cake for my own artistic progress and for my own skill, yeah, that you will see me get really excited and emotional about the cake. And when I'm making a customer cake, I withhold those thoughts deeply for the sake that I feel like that's not my place, because ultimately the customer is the person who determines the final say of the cake. My opinion about my work doesn't hold as much as the customer who is paying for it. So yes, in the process you will see, oh, this is great, we did. That's just an immediate spontaneous reaction to what is happening in the moment. But when I'm done with the customer cake, I actually don't have strong feelings about whether it's great or not. And that is because I withhold those thoughts for the customer, for them to give me feedback on. If they come back with a feedback and it's resounding, then I breathe. If they never come back, I hold the thought wondering, did they like it? Did they not like it? But after doing this for almost like 10 years plus and counting, I do not sit there and be completely insecure about whether they've come back or not. But it's something that never, it's almost like the page never closes for me if they never come back, because then I never got to know how they felt. So I cannot fill that gap for them. But I don't go seeking room to fill that gap either. Does that make sense? And I think every cake maker or artist will tell you, because it's always important for you to hold that gap open. At least the door of uncertainty, it's important because it will teach you the limitations of your own skill and force you to grow. So I don't wake up every day and make a cake and feel like I'm amazing. You can tell me I'm amazing. I thank you and I love you for that. But I have to keep my feet on the ground and be humble about my skill, because that's where growth is. You will miss it when you sit here. Like, I'm not against you understanding the value of your skill and how important it is for you to advocate for yourself. So make no mistake, I make great cakes, or at least I try. But I don't wake up every day with that as the forefront of my thought process, that, oh, the cake was amazing. Because that is where you begin to lose your ability to grow and refine. So I say that to say, even though you guys loved the cakes and you gave me feedback about it and we all enjoyed it, the customer's partner picked the cake up. They were excited. They were happy. The customer, okay, right. The customer received their cake. And then, because I've made them a cake before, and you guys have said what you think, I didn't sit there with a dagger in my heart thinking, oh God, today. I just went on about my life. And then 24 hours later, I received a text from them saying they want to talk to me about the cake. And when you see that text, you're like, God, what have I done? Okay? So, when I got the text, naturally my mind went to, okay, maybe because they were like, this time I didn't receive the lengthy resounding reaction that I got from the previous cake. So that there was a threshold of expectation here, which is that they can come back and be like, oh, thank you for the cake, it was amazing. Or they can go, I received the cake, it's beautiful, I received the cake, thank you. That's all. Either way, it's not good or bad. It's like they've acknowledged and we move on. Except this time they're like, thank you, we received the cake, much appreciated. But I just want to talk to you about the cake. Now, if they really wanted to pay me a compliment about the cake, they wouldn't need to talk to me, would they? So the fact that they said they wanted to talk to me about the cake made me think, okay, they have something to say. And I had to prepare myself for it. So I was like, okay, because when I received the text, my day was moving and I didn't want to force myself into an appointment where I wasn't prepared, or where my environmental factors and circumstances were going to influence me showing up professionally in a way that was appropriate. For instance, I think I'll break that down. I wasn't trying to avoid the customer. It was that when they text me, I had a busy day that didn't have anything to admin, because those conversations are very admin related, where I am sat at the desk and I can hear you and hear everything you have to say. And yet I received this text message and my day is mostly outdoors. So what I also didn't want to do was to make it seem like, because with that message for the customer, anything you say other than, okay, can I catch you at 11:30? Can I catch you at 2 p.m.? Anything you say short of a confirmation of time is going to appear dismissive. So imagine if I had responded, even though I've just explained to you what my day is looking like in the context. If I'd said to them, oh, thank you. If you'd like to talk to me about your cake, I am extremely busy today and tight for time. Is it possible we can make an appointment for tomorrow? This is just standard formal communication. You need me. I don't have time. Can we do this at a time that suits us both? From my own experience, I know even though this feels formal, it's certainly mood appropriate, the customer will feel dismissed because they will feel like, why are you here for me? Because I need to talk to you about this cake. And don't underestimate how people feel entitled when they feel that their feelings are valid. And you have to manage these. So I didn't respond immediately. I took my time because I had to find myself in the space where they are not dismissed, but I also don't get forced into a meeting that I'm not prepared for. Are you clear? So I went back and forth. My day kind of moved until I got home. And I thought, you know what? Not a problem. So I responded. I was like, you know what? It's because by this time my day is over. So then I didn't have to make the excuse of I have a busy day. My day was gone then. So now I'm back and it's later in the day. So I had to respond and say, you know what? Apologies. I saw your message. My day was busy. This is what the time I have available, which is supposed to be the next day. If that is not good for you, the alternative is for you to kind of leave the discussion via voice note. Because in fact, much of our cake consultation was via voice notes back and forth. So it wasn't unusual for me to prescribe a sort of means of communication that we were already used to, right? Because in fact, the consultation of the cake was all done via voice note and text. There was one time we spoke, but it was very short. It had nothing to do with anything. So once I said to them, my day has been extremely tight. Your message is noted. This is the available time I have. Will that work for you? If it doesn't work, can you leave me a voice note? They naturally opted for the day I gave them, which is the next day. Here's the lesson though. Anytime you feel forced into a confrontation, do your absolute best to walk away from it. Because when you have feelings, if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling uncertain, seek clarity. If you don't have the clarity or you don't know how to pursue the question of clarity, take a deep breath. Look, nobody died. They want to talk to you about a cake. If you're already panicking, you are not going to get the best response or resolve to the situation if you're panicking. I have never known anyone panicked who has solved a problem better, okay? If they eventually even made it better, they started making it worse and had to solve the part where it's worse before it gets better. So here's the deal. If you're a business owner, if you're a customer service person, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel the slightest bit of panic, like your HR pulls you to the office and they say, come now, and you know you can't get out of it, your next best thing, don't say anything. If they accuse you, raise something, don't say anything. Your best effort will be to say, I wasn't prepared for this meeting. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. It will require some thought from me and I will make time and give you a response via email, or I'll get back to you at a reasonable time. That's the best you can say. But if your HR pulls you and say, can you come to the office now? Don't go there and start talking. It will do nothing for you. You are most likely going to say the wrong thing. There are some unicorns who are able to think on their feet. That's not me. I am kind of a slow burn thinker. Forget that my mouth is fast, but I'm a slow burn thinker. Like I have to think about things. Sometimes things can be happening, right? And I'm either overreacting to the thing or I am very slow to catch on. And I think when I'm slow to catch on, that's where I function the best. So the customer texted me to say, oh, I need to talk to you about the cake. Did I really want to pick up the phone and be like, oh, what's your issue? Yes, because I wanted to know. I'm like, what? But I also knew that that moment wasn't appropriate for me, because my intention to kind of like get in and be like, what, may not attract my best reaction and resolution for whatever, because they could have wanted to talk to me about how amazing the cake is. I don't know that. But from the clues I already had, I had reason to perceive that it was not going to be the best conversation. So what would be my outcome? Take the day slow, get over the feeling I have, and then confront it on a professional level without emotion. So when I gave them the option of the next day discussion, they opted for that. They didn't confirm it though. So the next day came and I went about my day. Only a few minutes before the hour, I think I gave them a window of, let's say, anytime between 11 and 1 p.m. And only at 10 to 1 did they call me. So when I saw the call, because when I gave them the option of the time, they didn't come back and say, oh, I'll speak to you tomorrow. They never said anything. So I went on about my life the next day, least expecting nothing. And then 10 to 1, I get the call. I was stood right here in the kitchen when the call came. So when I saw the phone ringing and it was 10 to 1, I'm like, I could take this call or I can let it ride. And then I can go back and say, well, I gave you the window and you didn't confirm. So I didn't know. So I'm unavailable. But what would that do? That would just extend one issue for another day to handle. So I picked the call and I was receptive to them. Said, oh, okay. Yeah, I saw the message and yeah, so. And very quickly, this was their thoughts. Not exactly in the same words, but paraphrasing. It was like, the cake was nice. I took it for a photo shoot. I guess the photo shoot will matter. And everyone loved it. There were just a few things I didn't like. I didn't like the brown, as in the book, the brown, which was the book page itself. And I didn't like the highlights of the brown stripes against the white. That's all. Yeah. So they didn't like the brown and they didn't like the highlights of the brown on the pages. Remember, I just took time to explain to you how we ended up with the stripy brown against the pages, because I wanted to blend the top of the cake, which was the page, to the bottom of the cake instead of leaving it crisp white. That is the thing they didn't like. Frankly, I felt a sense of relief hearing those words, because I imagine whatever they wanted to discuss was far worse. And the fact that they said they just didn't like a color and an aspect of the design was more, for me, it was, my biggest fear is to make a cake that a customer doesn't like the taste of. Because what do you do with that? You can't change that. You can't do anything with that. If it's an aspect of the design where they were not clear and you, in the best of your ability, represented what you thought they liked, and they had confirmed the description of the design, then liability is not always very clear on who, because it's not a right or wrong thing. It's a preference thing. A preference thing is like, you like apples, I like bananas. You are not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy. Like, we like two different things, and that's okay. I don't like mushy bananas when they are overly brown, except for bacon, because I can't stand the marks on them when they are overly brown. I just can't. It makes my skin crawl. I feel a ways about them, but I'll bake with them. But you like your bananas sweet, close to brown. Good for you. You're not a bad guy. You just like bananas because you want the sweet. And for me, whilst I appreciate why you like them sweet, I just cannot stand the brown stripes. And when they get, I can't eat it. That's not a good or a bad thing. That is just a thing. Okay? So when a customer says they don't like the taste of a cake, you have bigger problems to think of. But where they don't like aspects of the design, especially where they have trusted your design perspective, that's not a you problem. That's a thing. Because then you are finding out that what you may appreciate as an artist from your skill and ability is not what a customer perspective represents at all. So when she said, oh, it's the brown, I did it, the shade of brown and the highlights of brown, it went back to exactly my very first experience with them, where I felt like they couldn't communicate their exact preferences to me, and I had to overperform. And by overperforming, they ended up with a cake that was more in value in terms of the material cost of the cake than they were charged for. And this time that they decided to trust me, they still felt like my artistic ability wasn't something that was at par, that was equal to their perception. So it wasn't that I was wrong, and I wasn't particularly defending my point of view. I think the first thing I said to her is, thank you for bringing that to my attention, you know, and the fact that you have told me, I will say that you are not wrong in not liking a thing on the cake, okay? You are not wrong, and your feelings are completely valid, and your observation of the cake you like is completely valid, okay? So I appreciate you holding this conversation with me. Can I ask what you thought the brown you didn't like and the highlights? She was like, she just thought the brown highlights on the cake were sort of a mistake or something. So that's the part I had to clarify. I said, certainly not a mistake for sure, okay? Whilst your feelings are valid and your assessment of your cake is completely valid in your point of view, I don't intend to invalidate or change that. I think I want to clarify the artistic part of making the cake, which is that this is what the cake looked like, and I documented the entire process via a video live, so you can go and see that nothing on your cake was by accident. It was all determined to kind of blend the cake for you. But if you, in your perception of how the design should look, didn't show up, here's the lesson we can take from the experience, which is, I would never have known the exact detail of what you were perceiving, especially in the context of telling me you just wanted me to do my magic because you've had a cake from me. I would never know what you were thinking. So I could only present you a cake closer to the instructions and drawing from my experience of a previous similar cake I have made for you. So here's the lesson. You're not wrong. It's not necessarily I am right. There's not a wrong, right or wrong. What the lesson we should take here is that next time, if you want me to make a cake, you have to derive the mood board and every exact detail so that I work according to exactly your preferences. And if I cannot provide that, then I probably can then exercise the option of not taking on the order. And that's not punishment against you voicing concerns about things you don't like. It's not that at all. It is that if you're able to produce exactly what you want on a table, I then get to look at that exact thing, and then I have a responsibility of acknowledging that my skill is enough to produce the exactness here, or I am not skilled enough to meet that expectation. And it's still not a right or a wrong thing. So can I just say the appreciation here is that you have learned that you cannot trust me to exercise my artistic ability completely without your control. And I've also learned from you that when you tell me that you can trust my ability, you are also withholding a certain perception that I don't know about. The good thing here is that the brown color, this is why we settled on the brown color, okay? And this is why the highlight of brown ended up on your cake. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like, it was a difficult conversation to have at all. No, I think she appreciated where I was coming from, and she saw the lessons in the moment. We ended up laughing about it, and she felt validated because she said she was not sure whether raising it would be difficult, but she felt so comfortable with the reassurance I gave her about my perspective, which is that I wasn't trying to convince her she was seeing wrong. In fact, I completely validated and accepted what she had to say, and I explained how we came to that point. And the lesson was that there was a part where there was a communication missing, which is that if you trust me to do what I can, my ability is what I have produced for you with this intention. Okay, and if you had a certain expectation that you wanted me to meet, you never told me. Yes, Dawn is asking Gladys, do you think she wanted the brown lighter? Gladys, do you think she wanted the brown color to be the book cover? She wanted the brown color to be... No, it was the brown that she had. She didn't like this brown. You remember her book, the cover was brown, and then we had highlights here. She didn't like how she thought this brown was too heavy, as in it was deeper in color, and she would have preferred it lighter, like close to nude. And in my mind, in terms of the artistry, the nude on a white, and here's the thing, I have come to appreciate that she wanted a very subtle color to the cake, rather than the deep tones of brown and the burnt brown elements we had on the side. I have come to appreciate she probably preferred something cleaner, like crisp, clean, and subtle tones. Does that make sense? And that's not what she wanted. Yep, Jackie is right. Auntie Jackie just put in there, customers like that have to be handled differently. If they return, get in-depth details and be clear on design concept. Clear the design concept is being trusted. Yep. You know what, Jackie, Auntie Jackie, when I say Jackie, I'm like, who are you talking to? Auntie Jackie, you're right, you know? And frankly, those customers I avoid. Because there is a part of the cake making process, and I already spoke about that in detail. There's a part of the cake decorating process that even as a cake maker, you do not know until you get to the design table. And so there has to be an element of blind trust, even when all elements are covered, which is why it is important for me, or at least for me, it is always important to work with customers who are just like wholesome and human, which is something that has also affected the success of my business, which is that as a custom cake maker, I haven't grown as speedily as it appears I should be. And that's because I'm very cautious in my interactions with people. Especially when you're dealing with high-end custom orders and also specific niche orders, as in wedding cakes and custom cakes. Because you can get all the details you want. Unless the customer themselves are an artist, who understand and appreciate an artistic process going left on you at the point of design, sometimes the idea of just holding on to all the elements by the customer and sometimes trying to pander to their expectation can still lead to issues. So I love customers because I love, if there is something that I get precious about, my name and my integrity is important to me. Okay? It's an idol I worship. Because as a business, that's your currency, your reputation for integrity and meeting customer expectation at all costs. Okay, so that's not something I want to compromise on. And so if you have a customer who just cannot bend to some of the things you cannot have control of, goodbye and good day. I don't care how much you pay me. I won't do it. I will tell you, it's going 4 years ago, I would say. 4 years ago, I had a customer, actually a couple, order a cake from me, a wedding cake. Loved the process, set up the cake, and then woke up 24 hours to my belly. Like my belly had fallen out of my bottom. Like it had literally given way and my guts were all to the floor, sort of email about how the bottom tier, they weren't sure. They felt like the cake was underbaked. It was a carrot cake. I baked it on camera. At the time, I was doing long form content. So I had created aspects of that cake for long form. So I had all that on camera and I could tell you the cake was not underbaked at all. But how do you think I felt when I woke up to that? They weren't accusatory, let's be clear. The couple themselves, it was their grace, their just humanity. They had every right. I mean, at that point, if you wake up and your wedding cake didn't go as planned, you can throw all the stones on earth and I'll take it. But you know what these people did? One day I will show you the email. Okay? This email was more like, for your skill and ability, we are not completely sure what went wrong here. We just felt like we would let it go. We just felt it was important to bring it to your attention, just so that if there is something to know or to learn from, but we just want you to know that we're good over here. What do you do with that email? Look, I ran to the left, cried my eyes out, dried my tears and went back to them like, people, just name whatever you want. Okay, now I don't care if you want me to give you my head. I live for this. Okay, I offered them a full refund for their bottom cake had a serving size of 50, and I offered to refund every one of that 50 servings, which would have been about £350 plus custom elements. And guess what? They said, no, we don't want a dime. We don't even care. What do you think I was going to do with that? I said, you know what? You people are just not going to run off. You are just good people. And I still insisted, and it almost became a battle of who gets to walk away with their integrity. Like, they're like, you know what? Because the bride, just a little bit of detail, the bride is not a cake maker, but she's a baker. She loves cake. And so I think she had an appreciation for one of the best people I've ever interacted with. And I still remember that experience till today. So it became a battle of, you know what, let's just do what's right by you, really. And I'm like, please, let me do what's right by you. So eventually, you know what we did? I settled to give the bride, I settled to give them an anniversary cake for free. And it was supposed to be a cake to serve the exact number that they didn't have. And this time I raised it to a 2-tier cake to serve 60. And the cake was made, the bride actually changed it. They said they didn't want it for the anniversary because they were going away. But it was her 30th birthday, I think, 16 months post the wedding, 15, 16 months post the wedding, which is nearly another extra 6 months post the anniversary. And if I didn't mind, I can then make the cake for the same servings. So instead of having their wedding cake be the anniversary cake, they actually chose to have it as a birthday cake for a 30th. And actually, I have some aspects of that cake filmed for a vlog. If you go down to some of my vlog series, there's a cake with some pink flowers that I made, and the fondant was difficult. It's on a vlog series. I didn't focus the vlog on the subject at the time, but now that I've said it, if you go back, you will see it's a vlog where I was covering a 2-tiered cake, and it was so hard I ended up being too tired. And that cake went out to the particular bride and her dad, as in the fun. Sometimes you just meet good people. The dad and the mom showed up at my house to collect the cake. And the dad actually texted me the night before because he was collecting the cake. He texted me the night before. He's like, they are parking their car at the neighbor's house. As in, when they go to visit their daughter for this milestone birthday, they are parking their car at the neighbor's driveway. And for the cake they enjoyed at the wedding, which is what they are picking another one from me for, they just want the neighbor to have a taste of it. And he's just wondering if I have any spare cake. They will pay for it. Oh my goodness. I was like, people, I do not even care. I will make you some extra cake slices. So I made them an extra box of cake slices, and it was supposed to be free. Like, if they're coming all the way to my house to get a cake and travel across the country for their daughter, give them cake. And I remember packaging the cake for them, and he gave my son some money. Like, good people exist. I say all of this to say, we deal with different people in our business all the time. As a business owner, you can never predict who you're handling, believe me. But never ever put money in front of your integrity at all, because there are people who will never ever appreciate what you do. You can make the perfect cake for them, and because of their own control issues or their own issues, they will never see. And those people have some red flags when you, from the point of contact, the red flags, I don't call them red. Like, you see, it will jump at you like a red flag, and then suddenly it will become a blanket covering a window or a sign. Don't ignore it. Because as an artist, with even the wide range of experience that I have, and you probably have too, there are things that are always going to get out of your control. Baking is a science. Decoration is an art form, and two things can be true. The shade of blue that the fondant takes on, sometimes you think you've just shaded it lightly, and then morning comes and it has set deeper. And you, from your artistic point of view, you're like, it was just a little bit of color I added here, it will be fine. And the customer rolls up in the morning, and it's like, that is too blue. Not in the case of this specific customer. I think the issues this customer raised are very fair and completely valid from their point of view. So I'm not invalidating that. But you will always, like, look at Sandra. We had that conversation. We had a customer who ordered cupcakes for their daughter. And they rolled back. Their daughter came back shouting like a bull in a camel shop because they were incredibly rude. and threatening for no reason. And come to find out, the only reason they were threatening for no reason is simply because they found the cupcakes too expensive. They thought their mom paying £70 for 2 boxes of custom designed cupcakes with toppers to match was just too expensive. And the only reason they decided to raise a ruckus and shout over here with threatening and accusations that held no water was simply because they just thought, I changed my mind. I changed my mind on the fact that I had buyer's remorse. Like, I bought the cakes. I didn't appreciate. It's okay if you don't appreciate the cakes. That's fine. But to invalidate the work completely on the fact that you feel like your money should be going towards something, that's where integrity is. So yeah, people can want valuable and quality things, but can still be human, can be considerate, can be kind, and can still appreciate hard work. And there are people who cannot afford that quality and will make it your problem. So I've given you 2 examples. 3, actually. There's a fair criticism, right? And actually, this customer I spoke to about the book cake, the call finished off on the note of, you know what, I actually respect you and we will work again. Obviously, they said we will work again. That is still open to debate, okay? But it's just like, you know what, I think we would work again and we'll work better, because you know what, I love that you are detail oriented. I really appreciate you for being detail oriented. So the fact that this is not a mistake, but it's more from your experience as an artist, is something that is more comforting for me, even though I don't like it. And I said to them, I appreciate you for actually holding the tougher conversation rather than making assumptions about what my reaction would have been. And for that, good luck and God be with you, right? So that's the best resolve. Like, there's no criticism here. There's no hard feelings. Both of us can see it's fair, it's measured, and it's okay. And then there's Sandra, who cannot afford it, feels a buyer's remorse, and then attempts to drag my name and my integrity. There are people like that. And then there is the couple who are on this side, who were just like the sweetest, kind, amazing people. The good thing is that you get to choose any of these people. And sometimes the red flag looks like a dot. Don't ignore it. That's all. So my people, it's nearly 3 p.m. If you're just joining us, okay, there are 12 of us already in the chat. What you have missed, oh people, I feel like I'm going to make Auntie Jackie mad, okay? We have our Valentine taster boxes. That is already live on the channel. We have spoken in detail about them. I've told you about the postage, the boxes, and everything that goes into it, okay? So, if you've seen me eat a cake over here, okay, all 13 of you, if you would like the video, okay, just, Sarah, have a good day too, lovely. Mwah. Come back soon, okay? So, if you are already here with us, and you've seen me eat a cake, and you want to have a taste of any of the cakes that I eat over here, you're welcome. Okay? You're welcome. They are £30 plus postage 40, or first class non-guaranteed postage 36. So you have the option of a £40 guaranteed postage 1 p.m. next day, or £36 not guaranteed but still. Okay? So for those of you who purchase it from the live, I think I have a gift to add to it. I won't tell you what it is yet, no. So get on the website. We have just limited boxes to go. Help a sister. I am not like overwhelmed. I am not trying to overwhelm myself. So we just have just a limited amount. We have 10 boxes. That's all we have. When I put them together and they are gone, no, honey. Once I get the 10 orders, the order is closed. But you know what? That is intentional. It is because this is the first time I just want to focus on giving you guys back something. And then depending on how it goes, which I know will do well, we will plan it for successive, like Mother's Day and other things. So, people, if you want to get it, I have posted a link on the community post. Go place your order over there so that I can get organized. We have 7 days because the pre-order closes, the window closes on the 10th. And then I have to get the orders out by 12 before 4 p.m. And they should get to you by 13th 1 p.m. because I don't want to be responsible. I know, Auntie Jackie, you want 1, but you're in the US. That's the problem because these are just UK deliveries only. Sorry. Look, the goal is to keep this up so that we will have a selection of flavors. I need to do some research on what postage to the US will look like. That takes a bit of work because you know what? I literally had to go to the post office. Now, there are things you can do online and ask ChatGPT to do. And there are things you cannot rely on ChatGPT. And some of them are, I had to drive to the post office with this box, like packaged exactly in the bag and everything. And they had to weigh it and derive the exact price of postage. And the postage for first class delivery within the UK and Channel Islands is £15.75 for so you're paying £30 for just the box, as in so if you were collecting this from my address, that would be £30, which is a bargain. But if you want it posted anywhere in the UK, that's £15.75. But then to give you value, I've subsidized the postage for to £10, which means that technically you're getting the box for £25 and then the postage is 15, but of £15.75, but you're paying £10, if you know what I mean. So that's just to give you something back. So we're not doing this for the money because we have already I've heard the UPS service is bad. Well, try Avery in the UK and you will come back with tears, okay? In fact, when I was doing research, everybody was like, avoid Avery. DPD is great, but they cannot compete with Royal Mail. So we have 2 Royal Mail options. Yep, so sadly, my UK audience, come on, let's go and get the boxes. There's just 10. But in the next 7 days, there will be more exciting things. Yeah, I'm kind of excited because I'm like, this is nice. Let's get to do this, okay, people? It's 3 p.m. A sister has got to go, but before that, let me see who is here, who has been here. Look, I've been sitting here mouthing off about this customer. This customer issues. When is my birthday, Gladys? February 11th. But you know what? I don't even get a day off for my birthday this year, you know. Maybe, and by then the pre-order would have closed. So I think on my birthday, because then the pre-order would have closed. So on my birthday, I will come back, I will come here and then we'll eat the sample box I made whilst you wait for yours to come. If you have any ideas on how we're going to do Valentine's, you're welcome. But on my birthday, I don't get a day off. Like, it's a milestone birthday and I'll still be here serving you. Okay? So maybe my birthday present for me will be to go order the box. That's all. And let's sell out of the 10 boxes. That's all. It will be such an exciting birthday present for me. Because, look, I live in a moment of answered prayer. I have peace in my life. I'm in good health. My son is fine. My birthday is the 11th of February. And on that day, I will be stood right here in this kitchen because your orders have to come out for 12. So, Denai, Denai, thank you. Denai is back. Thank you for stopping by, Denai. I owe you one, sis. I did say I was going. No, we are here for a minute. And the reason is, Denai is our new friend who, she's a teacher. I have a heart for teachers because they teach my kids, okay? Denai is a tutor, and Denai was last year. Denai wants to improve her skill of baking to the point where she can sell. So we had to go through some assessment questions, and the assessment questions showed that she does like a few like homemade cakes, like banana bread. She'd made a cookie and a carrot cake. Dana, you see, I remember you, right? And we gave Dana some task, which is to get a solid recipe of chocolate and vanilla, and to get her pans. Then here's the question. Have you gone to bake the cake? Have you baked the cake? Because if you've baked the cake, here's where I'm going to give you the tips. Because last week, on the last live of the book cake, I did tell you I wanted to give you some of the tips to kind of go and carry on. And then I got overwhelmed by the decorating process. So where are we? Have you managed to undertake the baking? I did tell you though, to opt for my version of the chocolate cake, not because I'm recommending my cake, but it's because it's an adaptable recipe. If you want to upgrade, when you get that base recipe from me, you can then upgrade to the Claire Saffitz one, because the Claire Saffitz one is a good chocolate cake, but it doesn't adapt well. And I tried it when I baked a cake. I tried to adapt that back to a cupcake version, and it was very watery. That is because some of the ingredients, it's not so much that her ingredients are not adaptable. Her cake recipe, I originally adapted it here because we don't have cake flour, and she used cake flour. And so when I tried to change the same recipe that I had adapted, because if we're just replacing her version of her ingredients, her flour, with self-raising flour here in the UK, we should expect some slight changes in results. But the result was great nonetheless. So what I was trying to say is that whilst her recipe makes a great layered cake with the substitute use of self-raising flour, it may not turn well if you want to change it into different forms of cake, i.e. cupcakes. And as somebody who is just starting, you want solid recipes that can turn around in various ways so that you are not experimenting with different things. If you're experimenting because you love to experiment, great. Like, I am not against you exercising your passion. But if you are learning towards a particular goal, focus is important. Does that make sense? So where are we? Denai says, I tried the chocolate cake and it turned out amazing. Thank you. Denai, tell them. Now, Denai, you need to go and post that in the comment section of the recipe. Thank you very much. I did not do the Claire one, as you said. I will pack that for now. Your recipe, I'm still enjoying the cake now. That people, then I tell them it is the same recipe. Now I sound like a salesperson. I love it because I'm with my people. The same recipe Denai says is amazing is the recipe that is going to be used for your chocolate cake. in the Valentine's box. So come on now. So I'm not the only one who says my cake is amazing. Then I knows that, and Lollipop knows that, and Mami Wusua, which is Brenda, knows that. Auntie Jackie, I'm sending you a hug. Steph, hugs to you. I might take myself and make it to America, and then we will host like a big session somewhere, and you will eat some cake, or we could find a way to post you cake. But for now, I can feel your disappointment. Just sit with me on this one, okay? Then I tell him. That's all. I tell you I love cake, but I love you. Okay. So then I just walked over here into the channel, and suddenly she's gone. So now then your goal is to go and make a vanilla cake recipe. Okay. Your goal now is to go and follow the same tips and find my vanilla cake recipe. And then when you finish, you try the red velvet. These are the 3 solid recipes you will ever need. If you master these in every way or form, you can then turn those around into the different flavor combinations, and that should be okay for you. Okay? So yeah, for the tips though, then you did say, so now you are on your way to actually getting a repertoire of recipes that works for you. Here's the thing. When anyone comes to me and they're like, I want to make cakes and I want to get good, I have nothing for you until I make the active recommendations for you to go and action on. Okay? Remember, I got deep with you. I'm like, is it just an idea that looks exciting? Because if it's just exciting, this culture of distraction, you keep scrolling, you see the cake, oh, I want to make a cake. You keep dreaming, and 1 year, 2 years will come and go. But if you are so passionate enough that you're in the comment section of a whole live, when you, as a tutor, I believe, have things to do with your time, but you're still here going, I actually want to do this, it means you really want to. So when I give you the boring action to go do, and you come back with the feedback, it tells me you actually want to do the thing. So your next will be to do the vanilla and move on to the red velvet. So you have chocolate, vanilla, red. Red velvet is the standout option here. Most people will come for vanilla or chocolate. Not putting people in a box. As a beginner, that's where you start. So you check the American buttercream. The American buttercream, I've broken the recipes into the various ratios depending on what you want. Every time I've made it, I'm like, if you go for the 1-to-1, it is great for filling a cake. It's not great for covering a cake where stability is your goal. Okay, so on a good weather day like this in England with the crisp coldness, yeah, we are cold, we want a hot water bottle. But if you use a 1-to-1 ratio, you'll still get great results because the cake won't go sloppy on you because heat is not affecting it. But on a hot weather day in 28 degrees, if you go for 1-to-1, you will have a sloppy mess of a cake, which is why I told you the lives are important here, because I talk about the intention behind the action and the choices you make. So go and do the vanilla, finish the red velvet, and then settle on the American buttercream recipe, both 1-to-1 and the 2. For now, stick with the 1-to-1 because the 1-to-1 is more for filling cakes. Follow the exact tips. Add salt, a touch of vinegar if you don't have salt, because vinegar with the strong acid, pungent taste of it will mask and cancel out a bit of the overwhelming sweetness of the sugar. Will it take away the sugar completely? No. So when you do all of these things, we can talk about your alternatives for buttercream, which will be French or faux Swiss meringue. You get those recipes on lock. And then we will transition to where? Filling and covering your cakes. Good luck. So what I am going to do is pack this up. So yeah, then those were the tips I wanted. But congratulations though, you did well over there by actually going to action the boring parts. Well done. Is Aunt Jackie talking to me? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Well, I am just packing some of the boxes just to save time. Because doing this away from a live is going to be what are we doing for Valentine, people? I mean, there is those of you who are putting in an order for cake slices. Okay. Besides eating cake, what are we doing for Valentine? You and I, what are we doing? Are we going anywhere fun? Your girl is single as a Pringle. Okay. You are out of ideas. Lollipop, you have a job to do. You may have forgotten. The shade. You better come here. You better come here and come and show us the results of your hard work. Okay? You will be cooking a lovely meal undecided and eating cake. Look, eating a cake is always a good thing. I mean, if you throw in a bit of banana, that will be healthy, okay? If you throw in chocolate, chocolate is a plant, so it makes cake a salad, okay? There is a saying in Ghanaian expression that says, you can't hide bad character, because like a pregnancy, bad character will always show itself. And I'm sitting here thinking, what has pregnancy got to do with anything? Because you see, it is the kind of job that always shows what you've been up to in the dark. So, Lollipop, the shade. But you know, honey, some of our African, like them Ghanaian people will be insulting you in idiomatic expressions. An African person, a Ghanaian person, or look, the Nigerians do it better. A Nigerian wanting to say you're stupid is too simple. Calling you obtuse is too simple. As refined as obtuse sounds like, obtuse is too simple in the Nigerian vocabulary. Okay, I'm not Nigerian, by the way. It's more like they'll be looking at you like, wisdom is pursuing you, but you are too fast. And now you have to sit and think about what that really means. Okay? So, I guess the Ghanaian saying, a bad character, it's the same. Your discipline will show up in public. Like pregnancy, good discipline shows up in public, isn't it? Because your quiet discipline, when you are over here going, I don't want to eat the salad, I want to complete my exercise, will show up in public when you are at the beach side with your bikini and your trim body. Like those of us with the 1 pound belly, our quiet discipline of scoffing cakes our quiet discipline of scoffing on cakes morning, afternoon, and evening shows up loud in the summer when we are avoiding the scale like a plague. That's all, people. On that note, I'ma love you and leave you like Lollipop and her quiet discipline of working hard. I will see you on the next one. Go order your boxes and I'll see you soon. Mwah.